Hey everyone, welcome back to the tower. I'm super excited for the video that I'm making today because it is going to be the first video that I have made on this channel that isn't directly related to Disney. What? Am I allowed to do that? I don't know, but I'm going to today, right now. I'm super duper excited because as much as I love Disney, I don't necessarily want this channel to just be Disney. I just want it to be about my life, and I've never made a video about anything else ever. So this is a really big first for me, and I'm stoked about it. So hopefully you'll watch and enjoy it, and yeah. Today's topic is going to be, drumroll please, Fall 2015 TV lineup. There are about 1,000,000,001 things that I love about fall. It is without a doubt my favorite time of year, but one of my favorite things about fall is that, one, my favorite shows come back from hiatus, and two, a bunch of fantastic new shows come on that I get to fall in love with. So, duh, who's not excited about that? Quick disclaimer before we get started. Since I'm talking about TV shows, there's obviously a pretty high likelihood that there's gonna be some spoilers if you haven't seen the new seasons of these shows. So maybe keep an ear out, and if it's something you were interested in watching, don't watch that clip of the video, because I don't wanna ruin anything for you. My favorite show that returned this fall is without a doubt Once Upon a Time. So even when I'm trying to make a not Disney related video, I'm still back to Disney. But anyway, Once Upon a Time is one of my favorite shows on television, and I was ready for its return like nobody's business. The show had its season 5 premiere 2 weeks ago, and it gave us our first taste of Storybrooke's newest villain, Dark Swan. Dun dun dun! Anyway, for those who aren't familiar with Once Upon a Time, the storyline revolves around Emma, who is the product of true love between Prince Charming and Snow White. And she is meant to be the savior of a terrifying evil curse that the evil queen cast on the Enchanted Forest. But in this season, Emma has taken a turn to the dark side and is now the most powerful of all villains in the world, pretty much. The Dark One. I was freaking out at the end of last season, as I'm sure everyone was, because Emma just got together with Hook, and she was just getting to become friends with Regina, and like all these great things were happening for her, and now she is being consumed by darkness, and it's like impossible to rid her of that without killing her. I was just pissed off about it, okay? I was not happy. Now that the season has actually premiered, I love Dark Swan. I think she's fabulous. I don't know, like I miss good savior Emma. Dark Swan's pretty great, man. I'm loving it. Because like, even though she's clearly a villain now and clearly dark, there's a scene where she's clearly expressing her love for Henry and the fact that she's always there for Henry even if she's being overtaken by darkness. Like that's not affecting her relationship with her son, or at least not on her end. And she's clearly still in love with Killian because they're freaking making out in her mansion even though he wasn't really into it. Tragic. It just shows like even though she's overtaken by darkness, she's not completely overtaken by darkness. There's still Emma's heart in there, and the only terrible thing that's happened since she's become the Dark One, the Fury being sent to Storybrooke, isn't even her fault. It's Regina's fault. So look who's still the evil queen. I don't know, that may be an unpopular opinion, but nonetheless, I love Dark Swan. She's sassy, she's fabulous, and she's still Emma at heart. I also just want to give like huge props to Jennifer Morrison because we all fell in love with her portrayal of Savior Emma, and we all knew she could play that well and absolutely kill it, but to see her take a complete 180 and be this dark, sassy, villainous persona is just amazing, and she's killing it at that too. And Jennifer Morrison's fabulous. I love her so much. I am super excited to see where we're going with Once Upon a Time this season, and if you're not watching it already, what are you doing? Get on it. Sundays on ABC. Do it now. Number 2 on my list of anticipated returns for this fall is Grey's Anatomy. I just finished binging all 11 seasons of Grey's Anatomy about 3 weeks before the season 12 premiere. That being said, Derek's death is still very fresh in my mind, and it is bizarre not having him in the series, as I'm sure most of you feel. It is freaking me out, and I don't really care for it as much as I did when Derek was alive. Also, is it just me, or is Meredith not even sad? I'm not saying she should be like locked away in her room crying and not going to work and not taking care of her kids and just a mess, but she doesn't even seem affected by it. Like she seems happier than she's been ever in the entire show. And I'm just like, the love of your life just died that you were supposed to raise your 2 children with, and you're fine? I don't understand. However, just because Meredith is happy doesn't mean I'm unhappy with the entire show's return. Just think it's a little weird in terms of plot, but whatever. I think it's really cool that she's living with all her sisters now, except Lexi. But I think it's really great that she's surrounded by family for what seems like the first time in the entire series. It's great. I'm really happy for her in that sense. And maybe that's why she's so happy. Can I say how much I freaking love Amelia and Owen? Because I do. I ship it so hard. Oh my gosh. Okay, I miss Christina so much. I wish Christina would come back every day, and her and Owen were perfect together. But if Christina's not coming back, I'm here for Amelia and Owen. So here for it. Pretty stoked about Bailey being chief. We all knew it was well deserved. It was time. One thing I absolutely loved about the season premiere was the subplot about the 2 teenage girls who were in love with each other, but the one's parent was sending her away to some camp where they're gonna brainwash her to not be a lesbian or whatever. It was such a great subplot, and it was my favorite part of the season so far out of both episodes. I thought it was great, and I loved at the end when the 2 dads bonded. I thought it was the cutest thing. You go, Graves, you go. I love it. My other 2 favorite shows that returned, Family Guy and Bob's Burgers. So far, I've loved both episodes of the 14th season. Quagmire and Peter's cooking show was so funny. The Bob's Burgers season premiere was equally as hilarious. Basically, it was about if Bob had never had a mustache, then him and Linda would have never fallen in love, and so all 3 Belcher kids came up with alternate universes in which their dad didn't have a mustache, and therefore their mom and dad didn't end up together. Tina's storyline was my personal favorite though, because I thought it was so funny how she narrowed it down that if her mom and dad didn't fall in love, then her mom would have never called off her engagement to Hugo, and then Hugo would have had his dream of owning a restaurant, and Bob would have been a health inspector. Awkward. Now for my opinion of some new shows in the fall 2015 lineup. Out of every new or returning show this fall, I have to say I was the most excited for the Muppets. I just recently finished binge watching The Office on Netflix, and around the same time that I was watching The Office, the trailer for Muppets came out at Comic-Con, and I just immediately was like, yes, I'm gonna have something to fill the void of The Office when it's over. Like, they're clearly not gonna be the same show, but it's a similar humor, and I already love the Muppets. It's gonna be great. I've been so excited about it for so long. While it's clearly more appropriate and more family-friendly than The Office, it still has a very similar comedic style, and I'm loving it so far. I have seen quite a bit of negative criticism about the show online, mainly from Christian news and blogging outlets, and I just don't get it. They're claiming that this isn't what Jim Henson would have wanted, that it's not family-friendly enough, and that it's absolutely inappropriate for kids. Is it though? Sure, there's some questionable jokes and references, but can't we assume that they go right over kids' heads? Because if your kid can understand these jokes, then they're probably old enough to get them, or they're already seeing that content somewhere else. It's no worse than any other sitcom on TV, and frankly, there are plenty of children's shows that have similar style jokes that are aimed to go over the heads of kids, but be funny enough that adults are intrigued enough to watch it with their children. SpongeBob? Anyone? SpongeBob has all kinds of sexual innuendo, all the time. Like, not as blunt as the Muppets, but come on now. Come on. I think the comedy is smart. I love Sam Eagle shouting language all the time. And of course, Kermit and Piggy are fabulous as always. It's hysterical. I love it. Go watch it. Last but not least is Grandfathered on Fox. We are 1 episode in, and I am already head over heels in love with this show, guys. So good. Like most women in the universe, I absolutely love John Stamos. I loved him in Full House. I loved him in Glee. So why wouldn't I love him in Grandfathered? I mean, worth a shot, right? His character in Grandfathered is actually so similar to Uncle Jesse that it's kinda scary. Jimmy is obsessed with his career, the same way that Jesse was obsessed with his music over any other priority in his life at the beginning of Full House. He's a complete womanizer, which Uncle Jesse was also at the beginning of Full House. And he's very unfamiliar with childcare, the same way that Uncle Jesse was at the beginning of Full House. Does anyone else remember Joey and Jesse trying to change Michelle's diaper? Because I do. it was awkward. Considering all those things though, Uncle Jesse still was much softer around the edges than Jimmy and Grandfathered. But just like Jesse evolved into a better man over time in Full House, it's very evident that Jimmy in Grandfathered is going to evolve in the same manner. He already grew leaps and bounds in the first episode. He didn't know he had a son or a grandchild, and in the matter of a couple days, he was hanging out with his son and babysitting his granddaughter alone and leaving a very important night at his restaurant, which is his entire life, because he was worried about his granddaughter's safety, and he ran her to the hospital while carrying her in his arms because she had a temperature. So clearly he's already grown leaps and bounds. He could have had an assistant do that, he could have had other people do that, he could have just called an ambulance. Like, there's other ways he could have done it without leaving that night, but he stepped up and did what needed to be done to make sure his granddaughter was safe, which shows great character development for him. So I'm already loving it. The show is absolutely adorable. John Stamos clearly still has it, and I'm really looking forward to the rest of this season. Oh, and if you haven't watched it already, look out for a surprise cameo from Bob Saget, because he shows up and it was magical for me. So, my little fangirl Full House heart. Those are all my favorite shows for fall 2015. Let me know in the comments below what your fall TV favorites are, and if you agreed or disagreed with any of the points I made in this video, let me know that in the comments too. As always, I'm also looking for requests for videos. I still have a list going of some Disney topics that I need to cover. One of them I'm filming directly after this video. But yeah, if you have requests, keep those coming in the comments as well. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up if you enjoyed this video for me. And as always, for more magical Disney content and other content too, don't forget to subscribe. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I'll see you next time. Have a magical day.